So here's a story for you. A father and son team in Colorado wanted a Lamborghini Aventador. Now, for most of us, that dream would have ended with a quick look at the car's $500,000 price tag. But no, not for these two. Instead of giving up, they thought, what if we 3D print one? Yeah, that's right, an entire Aventador, piece by piece, using nothing but a 3D printer, some junkyard parts, and pure determination. This isn't just some weekend project. Sterling Backus, the father, and his 12-year-old son, Xander, spent 5 years building their masterpiece. What started as a bonding project between a dad and his son turned into an insane engineering feat that caught the attention of Lamborghini itself. And trust me, the way Lamborghini responded will blow your mind. Stick around, because by the end of this, you're going to hear how a brand known for shutting down replicas ended up loaning these two a real Aventador S Roadster as a Christmas surprise. The whole idea kicked off in the most relatable way possible, while playing Forza Horizon. Xander, like any kid with good taste, fell in love with the sleek, angular design of the Lamborghini Aventador SV. Now, most kids would just beg their parents for a model car or poster, but Xander, he had bigger ambitions. Luckily for him, Sterling was up for the challenge. At the time, Sterling didn't know much about 3D printing, but that wasn't going to stop him. He rolled up his sleeves, dove into YouTube tutorials, and learned everything he could about the process. They didn't even have a 3D printer to start with, so Sterling bought a CR10S from Amazon, a small consumer-grade printer, not exactly built for printing car parts, but they made it work. For a year and a quarter, that printer ran almost non-stop, printing small, foot-cubed sections. Every piece had to be carefully jointed together to form larger panels that made up the body of the car. And because Colorado summers can turn a plastic replica into a puddle, Sterling had to reinforce those panels with carbon fiber for added durability. This wasn't just a model, it was a serious piece of engineering. Printing the body was one thing, but turning this shell into a drivable car? That was a whole other challenge. Sterling didn't want it to just look like a Lamborghini, he wanted it to perform like one too. The first hurdle, building a custom metal frame to support all those 3D printed parts. Then came the doors. If you know anything about the Aventador, you know that the scissor doors are iconic, and they're also ridiculously hard to build. Sterling struggled with the mechanics but refused to cut corners. After plenty of trial and error, they built functioning scissor doors that not only looked amazing but worked like the real thing. With the body coming together, the next step was under the hood. They found an LS1 engine, a 5.7-liter V8 from a 2003 Corvette, at a junkyard. Sterling rebuilt the engine from the ground up, even throwing in a pair of turbochargers for good measure. This thing wasn't just going to sit pretty in a garage, it was going to move and fast. Building the interior presented yet another challenge. Since the father and son team didn't want to cut costs on the look and feel of the inside, they painstakingly recreated the Aventador's luxurious cockpit, matching it as closely as possible to the real thing. Using a mix of 3D printed components and salvage parts, they built everything from the dashboard to the seats. The process wasn't just about appearance, though. Sterling also had to wire the electronics himself to ensure everything from the gauges to the lights worked properly. Imagine the pride they must have felt the first time they hit the switch and saw everything light up just like in the real car. Now, here's the part where most car companies would send a polite but firm cease and desist letter. Lamborghini, like many car luxury brands, isn't exactly known for supporting replicas. But Sterling and Xander's story was different. It wasn't just about copying a car, it was about passion, creativity, and the kind of perseverance that embodies the Lamborghini spirit. Word about the project made its way to Sant'Agata Bolognese, Lamborghini's headquarters in Italy, and instead of shutting the project down, the company decided to do something extraordinary. Just a few days before Christmas in 2019, Lamborghini's marketing team pulled off a surprise worthy of a holiday movie. Late at night, they snuck into the Backus family garage and replaced the replica with a real black Aventador S Roadster. Can you imagine waking up to that? Xander certainly couldn't. When he stepped into the garage expecting to see their hard-earned replica, he found a sleek, factory-fresh Aventador sitting there instead. Lamborghini didn't just leave the car for a quick joyride either. They gave Sterling and Xander the keys and let them keep it for 2 weeks. 2 whole weeks with a car most people can only dream about. And the best part, they captured the whole thing in an official Lamborghini Christmas video, showcasing the family's incredible journey and dedication. But that's not all Lamborghini did. They also donated some authentic parts to help Sterling and Xander finish their replica. We're talking real Aventador headlights. Those things go for about $5,000 a pop, and a genuine Lamborghini steering wheel. Sterling decided that the steering wheel would be the only part of the car to bear the Lamborghini badge, out of respect for the brand. In an interview, Lamborghini's chief marketing officer, Katia Bassi, explained that the company usually has strict policies against replicas, but this project was different. It represented the kind of authentic passion that Lamborghini stands for. Bassi said, "Sometimes a true story of passion deserves to be told, and they chose to feature Sterling and Xander's project as a celebration of that passion." With the real Aventador returned to its Italian home, Sterling and Xander went back to finishing their replica. There were still some panels to be sanded and painted, and a few tweaks needed to be made to the mechanics and electrical components. Sterling's goal was to have the car ready to show off at Bandimere Speedway in Colorado, a fitting place to unveil a car that had been 5 years in the making. He wanted it to look perfect, from the gleam of the paint to the smooth hum of the rebuilt LS1 engine. Even the electrical system needed a final tune-up to ensure every light and gauge functioned just like the original. But as Sterling worked on the last details, the project began to take on a deeper meaning. It was no longer just about building a car or completing a cool DIY project. It was about the journey he and Xander shared along the way. Every late night spent in the garage, every frustrating misprint or engine problem, and every small victory brought them closer together. The car had become a symbol of their bond, proof that with enough grit and passion, they could achieve something extraordinary. What's more, this project caught the attention of others in the maker and car enthusiast communities. Sterling and Xander began receiving invitations to car shows and podcasts, where they talked about the project and shared advice with other hobbyists. They even considered starting a YouTube channel dedicated to DIY supercar builds, inspiring others to take on their own ambitious dreams, no matter how impossible they might seem at first. Sterling didn't just build a car with his son, he built a legacy. The Aventador replica might one day gather dust in a garage, but the memories that they made will stick with them forever. A story they'll be telling for generations. And Xander, he's probably the only kid on the planet who's had both a 3D printed Lamborghini and a real one parked in his driveway. Not a bad way to kick off a lifelong love for engineering, right? So, what do you think? Would you have taken on a 5-year project like this, or maybe just buy a model and call it a day? Let me know in the comments. And hey, if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe for more. Who knows, maybe the next video will feature another wild DIY adventure. See you next time.